What up, everybody? Welcome back to Nashville Unsigned Podcast, formerly known as The News Podcast. We just changed the name. We are covering all things digital and music news for the independent community. Get on over to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Search the news. Actually, take that back. Search Nashville Unsigned Podcast for Apple Podcasts. You guys can download this episode.
Yeah, the hot, fresh Spotify.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, man.
Taking the words out of my mouth every single time. Every single time.
That thing. I listen to that thing probably twice a day, I'd say.
Hey, you know what? Robin Earl, Gary Earl, shout out. They just said our Spotify playlist is fire.
Ooh, I believe it.
They said it's fire. So
100.
We are chilling here. I am Amber Stoneman. This is Nick Brown.
What's up, everybody?
Jared Rigsby.
Hello.
And Patrick Larney.
Greetings.
And Nashville Unsigned, of course, is your go-to for all things independence. We're your one-stop shop for the independent music scene. We are a digital magazine providing label services, the largest independent community in the city where all your new best friends live. We do live events and have some publishing services these days. So get on over to the site, NashvilleUnsigned.com, build your profile, join the community.
Mm-hmm. Come say hi. Discover music.
Man.
Discover music. I
We're
like that.
doing all
Solid.
things
Solid.
music and independence and resources. So get on over there. It's a fun community. I mean, sometimes we send little fun emails to each other and direct messages. I mean, we change our fun profile pictures.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can have friends on there.
Really?
Friends?
Yeah.
Do tell
Real
more.
life friends?
Yeah, you can
Do
have some
tell
friends
more.
on there.
Yeah.
You can learn stuff.
We connect people there.
And education is so expensive these days, but
Right.
it's free.
Oh, man. That's
It's free.
yeah.
Free, guys. That's actually a really good free 99.
Yeah.
That's a really good
It's a
deal.
good deal. It's a good deal, yeah.
So today we are covering a topic that a lot of independent artists ask us all the time because we do live events is another leg of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have been a part of the Unsigned series and the Nashville Unsigned Presents. But so the golden question is, how do I promote my show?
Yep. Everybody got a show, and they definitely want some people to show up.
Yeah, and probably, just to throw this out there, probably the toughest town in America to get somebody to come to a show.
Yeah.
Because everybody
Right.
has their own show tomorrow
true.
that they're rehearsing for.
You're
you
right.
know,
You're
so-
so right. Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
become a little dull to it, I think. You know,
You do.
you
Yeah.
have so many people asking you to come out, but I mean, you know, there's definitely some really good shows that
There's
you got to go
so
see.
many
though.
shows.
So how do you stand out from the pack,
Right.
right?
Well,
Gotta-
and then
gotta
too, like,
differentiate it.
yeah, like there's so many shows going on. Like, where are you going to find out which ones you go to? Us.
It's true. Yeah.
Our event calendar.
NashvilleUnsigned.com/events, and then you can see exactly the coolest thing that is happening each day in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
So that's
great.
one way
It is a
our
convenient
alumni can promote their events is through the Nashville Unsigned calendar. So that's one way.
Yeah, so
that's
you
a way.
alumni, don't make us go to your website.
Send it to
Call
us.
us up. Let us know.
So look, we
Hey,
want
say, hey,
to
I
You
got a
guys,
show.
know, you guys know about the like pods? Don't act like you don't know. Code word. Thank you, Adara.
Yeah.
Like pods.
Code
Get
word.
the like pods.
Yeah, check out them past podcasts.
Right. So a few things, you know, I run the social media with Austin as well for Nashville Unsigned. So I think one of the best pieces of advice I can give to you guys as far as what we do for Nashville Unsigned shows, I want to say we've done over 40 shows in the past 2 years,
has it
which
been that
I
many?
know
It's
it
so
doesn't
crazy.
sound, when you compare it to tours or whatever, it doesn't
Yeah.
sound so crazy. But as a digital magazine throwing events, that is kind of crazy. We were
Yeah,
doing
well, it's almost one a
month
week, I mean.
every month with the Basement East, and then putting on a lot of alumni shows. So how do you promote your shows? I think one of the biggest pieces of information that I can give, that a tool that we use all the time. There isn't a day. The only reason you guys know about Nashville Unsigned is social media. So I think you guys have to, if you don't know it, you got to get on it. Social Media Examiner, Hootsuite blog. Get to those two. Go educate yourself.
Yeah, the Social Media Examiner, that's the one that tell you if you have fake followers, right?
Ooh,
is that what
yeah.
it is?
Oh, that's the audit. Like
the
every
audit,
single, like Facebook audit, Twitter audit, Instagram audit. That can, fish out if you have fake followers. But the great thing about the platforms is you can use it to promote to your direct fans.
Right. And that's actually a problem with having fake followers, right? For buying followers.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
It's 2018.
Yeah,
And you got some fake friends. I mean, come
I got 752,000 followers and I've got one comment.
There's like a visual, maybe something that makes you look cooler, but at the end of the day, you're promoting like half of your stuff to bots, and bots aren't going to show up to your show.
They're not going to show up. They're not going to buy merch.
That's the issue. I mean, if you want to look cooler than you already are, that's a strategy. Go for it. But
if that's the only metric you take into account is the people, how many followers you got.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not the only metric.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very shallow.
So that is some cool things to do inside of social media to be able to promote your show. Find those groups that are relevant to what you do. So I think Nashville Unsigned, part of our social strategy is to actually hit the event inside of the groups that would be interested in this type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So the great thing about that is when you're maneuvering in and out of groups, you're not under strict algorithms like you are if you were to just post directly out of your page or your personal account. But the key to that is you have definitely got to find those groups that work for your brand and post your event inside of those. Yeah. I think that's it.
Even to backtrack a little bit before that, let's just overall say promote your shows, because we have had we've had artists on shows of ours that didn't quite pitch in on the promotion process, and it affected the overall performance. And that's why I say, like, I was very shocked. I was like, why aren't these people promoting the show? That is a very
strange phenomenon
that they're a part of. So do it. People expect you to.
Even if you set yourself,
we have a lot of strategies for you.
Yeah, even that's a good point. Do promote your shows. It's one. You're kind of one click away.
Like, be annoying.
Daily. You're kind of one.
Just be annoying. Away. It's your business. Yeah. It's okay.
I mean, that's a pretty strange state of mind that you got to be in to have your own show and not promote your own show. I mean,
yeah. Well, I think that a lot of artists and then I want to make sure that we put all this time into how to promote your show. But I think one of the things to point out is that one of the problems that a lot of artists have is they don't like self-promotion. Okay. It goes in with like the whole thing like I'm cool and I don't want to be like selfie up in your face. But I got to tell you something. If you don't promote your show, nobody's going to see your face at all. You're going to be playing to nobody. Like you have to let people know. And letting people know is not about just once putting it on Instagram and then the whole world's like checking my Instagram every day. The average person follows 2,000 people on Instagram, and the average post is one a day. Now, there's some people that post 5 selfies a day, and some people don't post once a week or whatever. Right. That's what brings it down. But if you just do that simple math, that's 2,000 pictures a day. How many times have you gone through 2,000 pictures in a day on Instagram? You haven't. And so if you miss the flyer for the show just because you posted it on Instagram, homeboy, nobody's coming to your show. They don't even know what's happening, even if they're a fan of you. So, mailing list, email list is, the first segment I would say is get to an email list, because in Instagram somebody might not see it, but email, that's where we take care of a lot of things, our even on some of our bills. So even if the person stumbles in, at 3 a.m. to check their email, drunk off their ass, they still see the email and know that you're playing the Cowan on Friday, right?
So an email open rate is 41%. And let me give you a better open rate. Facebook Messenger is a 99% open rate.
Do you know that I wrote this down and said, remind Amber to tell everybody about their little secret? It's pretty good.
Anything social media, I kind of want to go back to that for a second.
Give that little dip.
Show did we do that on? Which show? Was it the rock show?
It was the rock show.
Where we had, 6 days? 6 days to promote that stuff?
So let's clarify what that is.
6 days to promote our very first show at the Cowan, a.k.a. Top Golf Live. They gave us 6 days, and we were up for the challenge because we believed you guys would be interested in doing this on such short notice with an epic lineup.
Yeah.
But I tapped in. I got these analytics from Social Media Examiner, actually. And they're like, hey, yeah, an email list is great and all, but Facebook Messenger is where you are going to get people in eyeballs right now. An email, I mean, there are sometimes like I'll miss that for days, and the open rate is almost like doubled.
Yeah.
So a really cool thing with that, we had the Cowan show, and I went through 4 out of my 5,000 followers, and it took weeks, but hit them with, and I know you guys did the same.
Yeah,
I think we had our whole team,
all kinds of different
that
angles
was hitting it, just with the Facebook Messenger alone.
Yeah, and the way to do that is you go into the event and you say share through Messenger.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you can message a friend. Yeah,
yeah.
Yep. It's literally so easy. If like he said, you go to the event, there is a share button, and your option will be right there, and you can literally go through and do it in the masses as well. So
you write like your little message or whatever, and then you just go down and click the buttons. It's sending that as an individual Facebook message to every single person that you click their header, and so it feels very personal. It feels very intimate, and people open it up, and now they actually know about your show. Now, whether they're going to come or not, that's probably how good's your music, but
yeah.
Well, you'll get
How good
open
of friends
rate.
are they?
Yeah, you'll get
Just
open
kidding.
rate, and you will get a message back. I can't tell you how many messages I got back that were just like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I can't make it." It was like a personal apology as to why they could not make it.
It's all good, man.
So, which leads me to, and I know we're going to kind of float in and out just as our ADD conversation would naturally go, but which moves me over to whoever is in your text message thread in the last 90 days, send a direct personalized message to each of those people to invite them. Because if they've been in your life in the past 90 days, then they better be showing up to your show.
That's great. That's great.
That is another, both are hovering around like 95 to 99% open rate. So if I were promoting a show very quickly and I was looking to get bodies in the room, then I would go to the people that I know that live here that are living in my text message thread, and B, I would even reach out into your followers on Facebook and send that personal invite through Messenger to be able to allow them to see that directly and feel like it's more personalized. But we did our results for the rock show ended up being like almost 250 on our first night, which
with 6
was
days of
epic with 6 days of promotions. So it has definitely proven to be successful.
Yeah, that Facebook message. Okay, so
secret weapon.
I got one of those Facebook messages
from Amber.
Before
that show,
and I'm a part of Nashville Unsigned, but I still felt special. I was like, wow, that was nice. That was a nice thing to do. And then so that's
so
kind of
true.
an indicator of how effective that is.
He's like, and I even work for them.
Yeah, I knew this was
part of my
going on.
company.
Going to that.
Trying to say something?
And then I go on there and accept the invite.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we've had other shows that haven't been as successful in that same kind of period of time, where we just took the normal route of we're posting it on Facebook often, and we had other people posting it often, but it something came together to where this show, it didn't quite click with people. And that's why I think that was just like a gem when the rock show was coming up. And I was thinking of that previous show or that festival that didn't quite pop off. And I was like, well, yeah, we only had like a week to promote it. But then we had this same thing happen. And this time it was just wildly different.
Yeah.
And I think it really
the
came
tickets
down
were cheaper
to
too.
that. But we still hit it on all promote that, boost your posts, boost your events, share it every day. Adara is doing a really cool thing with her launch, or was it the Blast the space party?
The launch.
Yep,
the launch
on
party.
May 3rd at the Cowan.
Adara, by the way, is one of our alumni. She's
Class
an EDM.
8.
Yeah, she's an EDM art. Well,
Pop.
EDM pop
artist. Totally.
Yeah. But she's
Very
doing a really, really cool thing. And one of the things that I had written down here on my list of things to do, brand your show as an experience.
Yeah.
There's
which is
far too many bands in this town. And if you're trying to stand out, don't just stand there with a guitar and a microphone like every other band in town.
Yeah.
Make an experience, do something with it. And, you know, I was so upset to have missed the show that she put on over, I think, the High Watt or something, but I saw pictures of it. There were, you know, big
From
planets in there, and like everything was spaced out.
Oh,
and
it's
you
much
could
bigger.
hold a moon rock.
You know,
I mean, I was
awesome
like, you know, FOMO, serious FOMO.
Guys, this is much better. This year.
She's doing a countdown so that she has a post
like a blast off.
like a blast off, like a launch. But it's also giving her the opportunity to post every single day.
Yeah.
About like leading up, like I think a month ahead.
Oh, you guys
of
have
time.
no idea.
She's
like the
putting
back
some
end
serious
of what this looks
into
like.
it, and it's going to be great.
We are helping her throw this show, and the back end of what this looks like. This chick is so organized. She's got her Dropbox set up by days and platforms and what's launching at what time.
Yeah.
So it's so
That's stellar.
strategic and scheduled, and just she actually pulled in Lightning 100, which is a great segue into local radio.
Yeah.
Adara pulled on Lightning 100, which is actually one of the biggest independent radio stations in the country. And they are doing tons of promotions, presenting the show. Also, there's another radio station in town. You guys go after your local radio. I think that's a really good one, too, that's oftentimes missed.
And I think that's probably a very heavily Nashville thing. But if you're in another city and you have like a really awesome local radio, give us a shout out. Let people know about them.
If you've got a small radio show, it's still local, and people are still hearing about it. That's local. That'll draw locally.
What is it? Clear Channel? Are they the ones that
big
buying up all the local radio stations?
Yeah,
they're the giants.
They're the giants.
But here in Nashville, I know a lot of our listeners and viewers are from Nashville. If you are, definitely check out Lightning 100. Check out Acme Radio. Shout out Carl. They've got
shout out Acme.
Yeah,
all of you guys.
Yeah,
You're awesome.
yeah, everybody there. We know like a ton of people there.
No, quite a few.
But yeah, so that is a good one too. And then The Ville is a new radio station. That
Shannon Sanders shout out gave us Shannon Sanders made us hip to that, and that's like Music City Soul and R&B.
That's it's
really
niche.
cool. It's basically like a Lightning 100 for like soul and hip hop, as Lightning 100 is more rock or indie based.
Is it like contemporary, or is it like?
I mean, it's everything. So they'll play Al Green and all that kind of stuff, but then they'll also play D. Robert and the Half Truths or something.
I've been rocking out to hippie radio here lately.
D. Robert and the Half Truths, shout out. I wonder if we can nail what class that is.
Well, you can nail what class it is.
No, it's definitely past 5.
I'm going to say 6.
6. I think it's 6.
We were right.
I'm terrible.
6.
Pound it.
6. So.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to say about the radio, because I think it's larger than just radio, but what what Amber is saying is the more people who are involved in the show, then the more people who feel ownership, and the more people who feel ownership, the more people who attend, right? And one thing that I just wanted to point out, building hype for a show doesn't always have to be about the music. Just recently, with a band from Class 2 called the Young Fables, they're a modern traditional country band. We sold out the City Winery with Nashville Unsigned Presents. And one of the ways that we were able to do that was to build hype around things that weren't music. She had a dress that was designed specifically for her, and by a local fashion designer, and they released videos beforehand saying like, hey, if you want to see the dress, and the video showed like a little bit of the arm and a little bit, and then there was also they had an endorsement from Shure Microphones, and Shure Microphones lent them Miranda Lambert's microphone.
Yeah, that was an awesome article, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
I wrote that.
That's great.
But that was another part of the story that wasn't necessarily just about the music, which every show has the music. So build, and Sinclair does a great job of that as well.
Well, that sounds like endorsements could be like such a huge benefactor
B2B,
in how this goes, because the endorsement itself, not only does it make you sound better, and does it prioritize you as an artist, but they can actually help you get the word out like through their
fan base. It's like Lightning 100 for the Adara show. They're doing tons of promotions on the radio and to their socials, and their following is insane. So that made total sense for her to make that move, because it wasn't just the radio reach, it was the social reach, it was their community reach, because they throw shows all over the city.
Oh yeah. So that guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, which is a great segue.
Is it a great segue?
It's a great one. Yeah, man, I have done marketing in every single aspect, I feel like. And one of the most effective is still the face-to-face. If you can get face-to-face with people, that's a completely different ballgame. And I think guerrilla style marketing, where you're kind of hitting the pavement, literally sometimes drawing sidewalk chalk on the pavement, that doesn't cost very much. That's a really good, I know here in Nashville, the pedestrian bridge, not to shout that out for everyone and give that secret away.
But we can't figure out who did this, but all of these people are Nashville Unsigned followers. I don't know where that came from.
It's everybody's moving over it. So if you think about high traffic streets or whatever, just get out there, put in the legwork, and jot your show's date and where it's at and the time, and if there's a dollar amount, and then get out of there. No, just kidding.
To print a poster, it costs you $1.50, and for $1.50 at the dollar store, you can get a whole box of sidewalk chalk and probably hit 50 locations with that. So
creative marketing is the most economical.
Absolutely,
in my opinion.
And
if you can put a little creativity, a little creative twist to how you want to market your event, then that will be infinitely more economical in the long run. You'll have more return on investment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That'll be what'll happen.
Exactly.
Speaking of,
think outside the box.
Our guy, White Rice, our boy Nick Daniels over here, gave me a really cool story before this came up. But he was interning for Sony, and was promoting a show for churches coming up. And so what they get was a stencil. And they got this kind of spray paint that isn't actually paint, right? So you can stencil like this chalk-based paint that's eco-friendly and washes off as soon as it rains, right? But it's graffiti art that isn't actually vandalism. So it's kind of cool. It was a very creative way, I think, to get the name out and make it like graffiti's cool.
Gotta think outside the box.
Graffiti's cool, vandalism not so much.
Hey, you know what?
The style is what really matters.
Yeah, speaking of graffiti in Nashville too, and I know some other hip communities. Like I just went to Asheville; they do the same thing. And these other, like what Nashville does with murals, they actually promote shows with murals. So I've seen that. That's really cool. Check into it. It actually is not that expensive. And if you have an album release and it's something big that you may not do again for another year, it would be well worth the investment. Especially
Didn't Casey Musgraves mural just pop up for her new record? I think somewhere here in Nashville, in East Nashville, I think.
I don't know,
I've seen everybody standing in front of it. So like free social just from a mural.
Well, Marathon Music Works and Exodin, like they put in East Nashville over in 5 Points. They'll put it on one of those buildings right there. Every
5 Points
week,
is a big
I feel like. So
yeah.
Pick a high traffic area and where you feel like your demographic is at, or close to wherever you're throwing the event. And talk to somebody. I think it's called Music City Murals is one of them. So talk to them about maybe getting, for a bigger show, getting a mural on a wall. I think it's kind of cool.
That is awesome.
Outside of the box.
Yeah.
Very Nashville.
The other thing that I was going to say, this has stuck with me for years because it was just so amazing. I was going to see a guy named Bob Schneider, who's out of Texas. He's a really popular artist in Texas, and he was playing in New York. Now that's kind of a little bit outside of his general area, so how could he get people to come to shows? Well, he knew that people in New York had seen him, but how did he entice them, beyond the ticket sale? And he he said, hey, listen, if you come to the show and enjoy the show, we will take your email address at the show. We're going to collect the show from the soundboard, and we will email you a digital download of the show that you just saw. And that was like well, heck, that's kind of worth something right there. So it enticed me to go to the show because I wanted to listen to the live recording of Bob Schneider, and a lot of venues in Nashville with as many engineers and producers as there are in this town. Most of the houses can give you a board recording, especially in the digital age. And so, man, that's something to promote too. But again, on the front side, that's where you got to do your work. We know that once you get to the show, you're gonna knock them dead, right? But the other thing that I wanted to ask, because I have my own ideas of it, but the thing I wanted to ask is not just getting people to your show that have seen your music or heard your music before, because then what are your sales beyond that point? Everybody's looking to expand. But how do you get somebody who's already a listener to bring somebody who is a friend that may enjoy it?
Make it a party, I think, is one thing. Like, I think the hype around a show really goes into like how many people show up, right? So this would be a good segue into events. Like, actually making the event. An issue I've seen before is like somebody split up events, right? So say they have a big event where 5 bands are playing.
Right.
Some of the bands make their own event page and have their own, thing going.
And now it says 50 people are attending, but if you add them all together.
Right.
Oh, well, here's a new cool feature.
Everything has to be together because it's the empty room concept. Like, if you walk into a club and there's nobody in that club, but there's music playing, you might bail because it's like, well, this isn't what I came to the club to be alone in the weird room with someone. You know what I'm saying? There's
sideburns over here.
When there's people already there at the club, then it says the club is fun. Like, I'm going to have
people
a good
have
time
already made the
people
decision
here.
that this is a place they want to stay.
So there's a feature.
So you want to do that digitally. I just wanted to get that point out.
There's a feature.
Have not an empty club. So you need it all together.
You don't even have to, it won't even let you make multiple events anymore, actually. The moment that someone adds you as a host to the event, it pops up on your page. So you don't actually have to recreate the event, which is a really cool feature. Thank you, Facebook. You've been doing a lot of things wrong, but that was right. But that, when you make somebody a host, that just happened with the Adara show on the 3rd. The moment that she made us a host, I didn't have to go recreate an event page or anything. It just popped up on our page, and I was like, oh my God, this is great.
Now I can promote it.
I don't have to do that. But that was a big, huge flaw up until like a couple of months ago, where you had like 5 different events going on. It was like 3 people and interested,
like,
one going.
Yeah, if you see an event and like 10 people are interested, you're like, I don't think so. Not for me. But if it's like 100 people are interested, you're like, oh, this looks like a good time.
Or it's also annoying when you go in there and you're like, what's happening tonight? And then there's 7 events that are all the same event with a different picture. Yeah. It's like,
what's going on?
What else is going on?
But I think to piggyback on Facebook events, so to really dive in a little bit deeper, get on, I can't say this enough, Social Media Examiner and Hootsuite, because you need to know how to boost your posts. So there's something called geo-targeted ads. And I really want to talk about this because this is still new. And I don't actually know any independent artists that currently use it. But we've said this in the Manager episode too. If you did not get a chance to listen to that one, download it. But you go through and you geo-target the area. So say you've got a 10-show tour. For instance, Stealing Oceans is about to go on tour. And so he's got 10, 15 shows. A week prior, you're going to boost like your newest music video, which Stealing Oceans is hip-hop rap out of Class 5 that has Followed the Lights out right now, a brand new song in his new album, Let the Kids Play, that just launched. So they're going on tour. But how you can get people at your shows in a city that you're not familiar with, or do you have a fan base in right now, a week prior, boost that music video, geo-target it for 50-mile radius from the venue. And so that city is getting a week's worth of exposure to your brand and your music and your music video before you ever even get into the city. So you create fans in a week that get to your show, and the moment that they see that live, because I know Stealing Oceans is killing it live.
Oh, great.
But
great
the moment
show.
that they see that live, they're gonna be hooked. Yeah. So I think the tour, you guys have to be so strategic about this. But if you get if you get well ahead of it and you go a week out from every single show and use the same post but moving the geo-targeted ad.
Oh, yeah, the tour aspect.
That's all you have to do for those 10, 15 shows. You've got the same post, you're moving your location, and you're paying $15, $20 a week to boost it in that area, and you're reaching anywhere from 10 to 15,000, if not more, based on the geolocation.
Yeah, and if you sell 3 records, you've already paid it off.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Or so with the ticket sale, I guess what? If 3 people show up, you've already paid it off, right?
Yeah. Sell 1 T-shirt. And you got that. But I think that that's a very underutilized, and that is a piece of solid information for all of our alumni. Get on that. It's really effective. I've got a really good friend from SCORE Nashville. His name's Tim Reynolds, who's in marketing and had turned me onto this 3 years ago before it was even cool.
Yeah.
And now it's just now starting to get a little bit of traction.
Now it's cool.
It's definitely not in the independent scene right now. So you guys get on it. It's very effective.
Yeah. Another thing that I would like to throw out there that I was turned on to, there's a book, and it's actually on sale right now. I think I paid like $130 for it or whatever, but it's $79 right now on Tom Jackson's website. It's a book called The Live Music Method, and he goes into a ton of ideas and studies about live music and how that is the window. You know, people spend all this time writing music and recording music, and then they say, let's rehearse twice and then go play a show. Well, that's like wrapping a Lamborghini car in a Honda Civic shell. You know, you have to, that is how you're going to sell your music. So the live show is so important, and he really dives in that book about how to get people to shows, and once they're there, how you use that show as your promotion for your next show. How many people walk out the door when they feel really, really good, and they're walking out without a flyer for their next show.
Or like just like the live feed, like we were talking about before. I've done that for our shows on Instagram, and it's a lot of fun. People start looking forward to the next one,
right?
Especially if you have a couple back to back in the same city. I think that would be super effective to be like, this is how much fun everyone had at this show. Here you go, everybody. There's
Nick had a really good, because we haven't touched on this leg of promoting your show yet, but Nick has knowledge around SEO. I can't fit SEM in my brain.
We're all just going to bow out on this one and just let you just hammer
search engine marketing.
Well, it's still connected to like the geographical marketing. So, you know that there's going to be an event at a specific venue. So we've touched on social media. Mm-hmm. We've touched on the email list.
And the gorilla.
We've touched on the gorilla. We've touched on getting creative.
We touched on the gorilla.
Yeah. Market with gorillas.
We touched all over most everything.
He did. I didn't.
Except for Google marketing. So, we're living in 2018. So when people are curious about something, when people have a question, what do? They go to Google and they type it in. Yeah,
that's actually like a phrase you use these days. Like Google it, bro.
Yeah, Google it. I mean, like
Google it, bro.
Bing it, bro. Yahoo that shiz.
I'm duck going, guy.
Nice.
They don't track you. That's the thing. But anyway, so back to Google. What we're talking about is people they search Google specific. Most likely
for your event.
And then, so what you can do is you can actually do it's Google AdWords. So you're marketing to specific search terms, and then you can do that within geographic locations. So say we're having an event. It's going to be in Nashville. We can go ahead and geolocate it into Nashville. Maybe even the surrounding counties. So we got Davidson County, add some additional counties in there.
Or even tour-wise,
Rutherford,
if you're going to your next city. Big time.
Yeah, you can narrow it down all the way to like zip codes, specific cities, that whole thing. And then, but what you want to do is you want to target specific search terms for people that might be interested in coming to see your show. So people say they go to Google and they're looking for events this weekend. You could target that specific search, and if you have an event that's going on that weekend, then you'll be able to display that ad to them. And given that you're capable of converting this interested searcher into a buyer of your ticket, then that's the whole goal.
I think one of the things that piggybacks off of that I learned from Amber, and I'm not even sure if you can still do this, so I'm asking you, Amber, but one of the brilliant ideas that she had was promoting shows through a Snapchat filter.
Actually, that was on my list of things.
Take it away. Take it away.
But yeah, you guys all know, we all know Snapchat. Let's not act like we don't. But when you swipe through, those are called geo filters. So you're going to go through and you're going to have options to certain geo filters when you're in certain locations. You'll see that it usually makes sense to the city or the town or the venue that you're in. Oftentimes you'll see sponsored by at the bottom. And that is accessible to everyone. So if you go to snapchat.com and you click on geo filters, you can actually go in and make your own Snapchat geo filter, and you do not understand how cheap this is. I mean, for the Basement East, when we did the Unsigned series for an entire year, we did a Snapchat geo filter for almost every single event, and it makes for a really cool experience. Mm-hmm. And of course, the more creative you can get with it, the more creative your users are going to get with it. But typically what we've done is you go in there, you build out your own custom geo filter, you set your geo-targeted ad campaign. So you
Which actually is the where.
So you type in the address of your location, and you can scale it out for 20 miles, 50 miles, whatever. And of course, the price goes up as the bigger the radius is.
And also duration, right? The price goes
duration up. And location. So I did this before, right when Snapchat was taking over or switching this up. We were promoting Howl at the Moon Music Festival that we partnered with. And so we were dropping geo filters on other music festivals, because where is our demographic at other music festivals. So yeah, it's a little savage. And do we care? Absolutely not. Because we sure enough dropped a geo filter on Live on the Green, because there's 10,000 people there.
There was one like next door or something too. If I remember correctly.
Yeah. So and another one. Live on the Green, that was like $20 or $30 for 5 hours for that specific geolocation. But then when I tried to drop it on a Drake sold out Bridgestone show, that was a completely different ballgame. That then turned to like, for the same amount of time, it then turned into like a $20,000 campaign.
Yeah. But the thing about that is like Bridgestone, they always know that there's going to be 30,000 people there. So I would look into like what like street festival is happening this weekend, because they might not be hip to it, and then you're going to get more bang for your buck.
Yeah. Well, and if you have an album that you're releasing when Tomato and Arts Festival throws something in East Nashville, and they're pulling in 15 to 20,000 people, and you have an album release around the same time, why are you not dropping a geo filter on that place?
Or even your like your
promoting your album.
Yeah, your own album to bands that sound like you, that are bigger than you in town. Like I'm swiping through and being like, oh, okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah, and one of the rules, you can't use a URL in there. So, and it'll kick you out. You'll go through the dating process with Snapchat for a minute.
Just figure it out.
And you're gonna work through some shit, and then you're gonna be okay. But that's what it is you can't put any URLs. You can put your brand, and your brand could be different from the sponsored by. So just get in Snapchat and play around with that. It's a really great way to do it. And another segue into social media, not to like just completely beat the shit out of social media.
Before I stop that, I do want to say one more thing about Snapchat. Yeah. Our data guy, Austin, would love the back end of this, because anybody who uses your thing, then you can collect that data on the backside. So now you're rolling your promotion for your show into what you can use for promotion.
You won't get email addresses.
Facebook, but it's us that's stealing your data.
Yeah, you do get the data. That was really, really awesome that we got a chance to look at, because it won't give you email addresses or usernames of who saw it, but it'll give you reach and engagement. And so if anybody uses your geo filter, then anyone that views it from their friends, you get that reach. So the reach is insane.
Oh yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Talk about a healthy way to spend your marketing dollars.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, you were going back to social media.
There's a really cool one, and I just started playing around with this. And so Instagram, you have your Instagram story. And you can upload a flyer that's already in your camera roll. You put it up, you tag the bands or whatever. You swipe up, you hit location, and you choose you don't even have to be present. You don't even have to be present. You can choose the location, and it puts it in that location story. You're automatically. I was in Asheville and was eating some food at a bar, and I took a picture of it and tagged the location, and it saw 1,500 people in that area. And I'm like, oh my God, how much money would have cost me to push this out to 1,500 people? So the eyeballs is what you're going after, but that's a really good secret that we just recently started using. And again, you don't have to be physically present. So that you guys got to get on the Instagram story, swipe up, hit location, type in either the address or the name of business, and you're golden.
Ooh.
Little piece of advice.
Gold.
I am an Instagram hooker. I mean, not for real, digitally. Not like physically.
Well, the benefit is you can merge that with your Facebook. So it's owned by the same group with Facebook. And then you also have like your Facebook pixel. So you'll be able to do the tracking on that regard. And then you can kind of integrate that whole marketing.
Speaking of merging, save your time as an artist, and instead of filling out every show on your Facebook and filling out every show on your website and whatever, you can sign into something called Bands in Town.
Yeah, that's
and you can sync it to everything. And so when you put a show up there, boom,
that machine is so effective.
It's great, man. And I get you know, it'll give me updates and notifications about bands that are in my iTunes library.
And it'll actually say the band sent you a message. And you're like, oh,
I know, I freaked out the other day. I was sitting in my car and I saw like Martin Sexton sent you a message, and I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, bands in town.
I'm like, that is sad.
And I was engaged.
That is sad. Clickbait. So we brushed all kinds of stuff. I think another thing that is kind of an obvious for us, because we are a digital magazine, is reach out to digital magazines. Oh, yeah. There's a slew of them. I mean, we did it before it was cool, just saying. But now it's cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to print, and a lot of places don't go to print anymore. Of course, it cuts costs, but the followers on these digital magazines are insane. So if you can get some type of feature for your event, the SEO is increased because you're getting a backlink. Yeah. On top of that, you're getting access to their fan base. And you got to think about it like this. Your Instagram, you're seeing only a small fraction of the people that you follow. So you've got to get it in more hands of more followers. So it's just naturally going to raise those numbers. So don't forget about digital magazines.
Oh, absolutely.
I have a list, but I'm not going to give them to you. Hey. You guys have to get on our email list to be able to get the list of digital publications that we know and are friends with. So email list.
And one other one that I wanted to throw in there that I've used this quite a bit because we're rolling into summer now, and in an area like Nashville, it is hot during the summer. And you know, if you're, let's say, a country act, you are a killer guitar player, and you're a guy, well, then, you know, you probably are in the likes of a Keith Urban. We would, you know, country people love to do this little thing, parking lot parties, right? Yeah. So before the Keith Urban concert, everybody is just chilling out in the parking lot, and you know they're all Keith Urban fans. Get a boombox. Put your music in it and walk right on down the line and just talk to all the people that are there. That is a filtered demographic for you that is just pickings, and it's free, and people are just hanging out, right? So make friends with them. They feel ownership. They say, oh my God, I'm listening to this. You know, this guy approached us at a Keith Urban concert when we were, you know, tailgating in the parking lot.
Yeah, he was wearing jeans shorts and cowboy boots.
That's right. Have a couple sexy women with you, you know, and scantily dressed with big leafs, and you can fan them down and whatever. Anyway, the point is you know that your demographic is there, and it's free, and it's open, and it's partying. So go talk to it.
Yeah, any big group of people, whether it be Centennial Park, the East Pavilion in East Nashville, or what is it, the courthouse over in front of the courthouse for Live on the Green, not court. I know you got scared for a second.
The courthouse.
He's like, somebody know about me? Somebody know my real name? Nice. But get out there, get your flyers, get your tennis shoes on, or get your cowboy boots on, and hustle. Like, get in front of people. Get your face in front of people as much as you possibly can. I think a cool underestimated thing is find your college ambassadors. Oh. That's so cool. And find your two biggest fans in the university that's in your area, or the multiple universities here in Nashville. It'd be Belmont and MTSU. but find the people that believe in your brand and make those two people ambassadors and let them maneuver in and out of that university to pull those kids to your experience. We just hit a show. We partnered up with Octo Music Group and Innovo Management for an EDM show here in Nashville called Project Underground. And I cannot tell you guys, A, how much fun it was,
was
but
that last
B,
Friday?
yes,
Last Friday?
like it was. I left a wedding and went straight there, and some of our other team members were there too. But they pulled together this crew through Belmont, like through marketing to Belmont with EDM pop, pulled in some really cool DJs, made it a really great experience. Shout out to you guys. We can't wait to do this for round 2.
Those Belmont kids are hardcore.
Oh,
yeah, shout out to Belmont.
God. Whoever wore the panda hat, whoever wore the panda hat, you are a god. Yeah. And I'm sorry I twisted your panda hat around for a picture. That was me.
She snapped his neck.
That was me. You didn't see me because it went black for a minute. But it was me. But what they did with the university and how they were able to use those kids as ambassadors for their event was genius. And I think those guys have mad genius business skills. So if you guys get a chance to talk to those guys as well, do. Yeah. They are smart and they're really great with being able to pull. I think that what they have like 700 or 800 people there that night. So it was insane.
Man,
I know, fun times. But that's the college ambassadors. Find those quickly. And I think the last thing, man, is just think outside of the box. Think outside of the box.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like, be unique in your promotions. Make sure it matches your brand, and know where your demographic lives, where they hang out, where they eat, where they go play basketball or do yoga or drink coffee. Like, know those places.
Really. That's probably step one, really.
Yeah.
So it's, you want to get creative and all.
Backwards.
You want to get creative and all. But first of all, figure out where the heck these people are at.
Yeah. Where are they hanging out?
Where are we going to be getting creative at?
That's where you go. Don't spend your time. It's the 80-20 principle. Don't spend your time like marketing in places where your demographic doesn't live.
Yeah.
Know your analytics from socials. Know their age range. Where does that age range hang out? Where do they go to school? Where do they drink coffee? Like
things like that. That's a great launching off point for getting creative. So, you identify that demographic and what would these people enjoy? Where are they at? That way of connecting.
Which is basically to say you need to treat your music as a business. I know we've said this like a gazillion
don't we have
times.
a podcast episode of that?
I think so.
Yes, we do.
God,
Probably
I've heard that once.
Where?
Because the idea is that promotion is the root word of promote is pro, or at least the first part of it, right? The suffix, index, I don't know what it is.
And the first two are PR, right? So get a PR agent.
Be professional about
prefix.
About
prefix is
promotion. Prefix,
That's what it is,
Thank you. Yeah. Because otherwise it's just amateur motion, right? And you need to get out there and like approach it as if you're selling, pizza at a mom and pop shop. Like how... or dolls or whatever it is that you're trying to sell. Like, you wouldn't just say, oh, well, the doll's going to be great, so it's going to sell. Like, the music's great. I'm sure it's great. You're in Music City, and you were able to get booked, so I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you've got to be professional about promoting it.
And professional could mean a slew of different things. If this is a Fangs concert and you're promoting to a younger demographic, it's gonna look different. Like, you are still approaching it, which his marketing and promotional material is fantastic. So shout out to Class 5 Fangs, who does like synth EDM.
That's Fangs with a PH.
And he has Fangs with a PH.
Yeah, it's a cool style.
And he doesn't have a sense of smell. That's kind of a cool story.
I'm going to have to hop in here and tell you it's Class 4. Sorry.
Class 4.
Beat us up in the comments.
Yeah, because he was on the first side of the red couch. That was when the red couch was first approached.
Introduced,
We introduced it in Class 4 off the food truck days. So I'm sorry about that. Thanks. Don't hurt me. All right, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. We hope this is educational and you get to your computer or in front of people or do something. Just do something. Yep. Promote your show.
Yeah, go sign up for Nashville Unsigned. That's first.
May 3rd, May 17th, May 21st, and May 30th. 3 of those are at the Cowan. Get out there. Live shows. We love you guys.
Peace.
Later, y'all.
Talk with your hands.